Chapter 7. Electrical Resistance. I repeat to him, "There's no need so many times. The words lose meaning like in a tongue twister. It's all in vain." "Jack, I'm sure you have lots of things to do," I say, as he ushers me out of his office, arm brushing against mine. "Like what?" Make necklaces out of baby teeth? Deadlift an anvil? Work?" He slides his key in the back pocket of his jeans and sizes me up from 5 feet above me. I feel ridiculously overdressed, even though I'm the one wearing proper professional attire. I can make the time to show around a potential future colleague. Don't snort, Elsie. Don't snort. There really is no need. He tuts. If you keep repeating that, I'll figure that you don't want to hang out with me. I don't, but I'd love to hang you. He pushes me down the hallway with a hand between my shoulder blades, and for a second his many feet and inches and pounds feel tantalizingly, inexplicably inviting. I'm tired, a little weary. I could sink against him and... Whoa. I think I'm getting woozy. Maybe I need to eat. I shouldn't, though. I had vitamin-enriched gummy rabbits between interviews to keep my blood sugar from dropping. Unwise, letting yourself get hangry when you're with someone you daydream of, slaughtering at baseline. I take out my phone, meaning to check my glycemic levels. Except Jack is staring at it, eyes on the crack splitting the lock screen. A selfie of Cece and me laughing as we hold up a block of cranberry goat cheese. It was on New Year's Eve, before we spent 4 hours watching a Belgian movie about cannibalism, then 1 more hour discussing its emotional through-line. I wanted to die. The cheese was good, though. My glucose monitor looks fine, but I want to check my pod. I need a minute alone. Maybe I can pretend I forgot something in Jack's office? I turn around to give the door one longing look, and my eyes fall on his nameplate. Where's the Turner from, anyway? Jack gives me a curious glance. I suspect that his leisure pace is faster than my full-on sprint, but he slows down to match me. How gracious. Greg's last name is just Smith. Turner's my mom's last name. And Greg didn't take it? See, this seems like the exact type of information that someone who's in a loving relationship with my brother would already have. Okay, that's not untrue. Where was Volkov supposed to take you? I take my itinerary out of my minuscule pocket. I have to unfold it about 20 times, which seems to amuse Jack. Dick. Wait. It says here that Dr. Crowley was going to give me the tour. I look up, hopeful. You don't need to... Crowley and Pereira are no longer on the search committee. What? The very 2 assholes I overheard in the bathroom. Why? Something came up. They had to step back. He says it in a monotone, like it's not weird that 2 faculty members would pull out in the middle of a search. But I'm happy to take over. He holds my eyes, final, blue-quartered. What does the schedule say? Damn it. Tour of the labs. He huffs a laugh. You sure you want to see those? They're crawling with experimentalists. I stifle an eye roll. I'd love to see the labs. Like I said, I firmly believe in the collaboration between experimental and theoretical physics, and I value... Jack's eyebrow lifts, subtext, "You're full of shit." And I trail off. Should I just show you the offices, Elsie? I press my lips together, subtext, stop saying my name. Yes, please. The thing about theoretical physics is, it mostly involves thinking, and reading, and scribbling equations on a chalkboard, and contemplating a hemlock salad when you realize that the last 3 months of your work don't jive with the Bekenstein-Hawking formula. While writing my dissertation, I spent the bulk of my time in my apartment, staring at the wall, trying to make sense of the segregation of crystals into chiral domains. Every few hours, Cece would poke me with the Swiffer to make sure I was alive. Hedgie was perched on her shoulder, eagerly awaiting the green light to feast on my corpse. We theorists don't really do labs, and the fanciest equipment we need is computers to run simulations. I've never even worn a lab coat, except for the year JJA made me dress like a sexy neurosurgeon for a Halloween party. Even then, it was 80% fishnets. Conference rooms are that way. Jack points to the right. His forearm is corded with muscle. What workout even targets those? About 60% of the department focuses mostly on theory. More, if you include hybrid faculty like Volkov. He gives me a sideways glance. Nice job with the puns, by the way. Did you spend hours Googling dad jokes? Only about 20 minutes. I'm a skimmer. Tell me, do you feel safe here? Safe? If over 60% of faculty are theorists, there must have been instances of slashed tires, defaced mailbox, giant dumps on your desk, unless you sent every theorist an apology Fudgy the Whale on your first day? Is that an eye crinkle again? I'm not the most popular guy on faculty, and I have yet to be invited to the department's weekly happy hour, but most people are civil, and again, I have nothing against theorists. Sure, some of your best friends are theorists. He holds my eyes as he unlocks a door, and the single dimple makes a reappearance. This will be your office, Elsie, if your pun game stays on point. My fantasies of filling Jack with candy and taking a bat to him, do I need sugar, are derailed by the high window overlooking campus, and the beautiful desk, and the matching shelves, and the giant whiteboard. God, this office is spectacular. I could sit here every day, take in the hardwood smell, sink into a comfortable chair MIT procurement purchased for me, let my brain crunch away connections and expand my theories for hours, finish my manuscript, the one that's been on pause for over a year. I shiver in pleasure at the idea. Unlike at my apartment, no coconut crab bugs would try to crawl in my mouth. My life would see a 900% reduction of may I pay this class's tuition in Dogecoin's emails, and the salary. I'd have personal finances, real ones, not just dimes I forgot in my winter coat the previous year. I want this office. I want this job. I want it more than I have ever wanted anything, including that Polly Pocket set at age 5. Do you need some privacy? A mattress? Emergency contraception? I whirl around. Jack is leaning against the door jamb, the set of his shoulders relaxed, his frame filling the entrance. He stares at me with that lopsided smile that almost has me forgetting that we hate each other. I clear my throat. A nice office? Just nice? You looked on the verge of something there. I collect myself. No, what's the teaching load for the position again? He studies me, assessing, and I face away. I've had enough of him for today. Do you enjoy teaching? Of course, I lie, running a finger over a wooden shelf. It's not even dusty. You don't? He says, pilfering truths out of my skull. Maybe you did before having to teach 90 classes a week, but not anymore. It's not a question. The teaching load is 2 classes per semester. I palm the filing cabinet. Not too bad. You do know that there are physics jobs that require no teaching? I can get grants, buy out my classes so I don't have to teach. Grants are rare for theory. It'll take you months to apply, years to hear back. Wouldn't you rather be a full-time researcher? I turn around, hands on my hips. I'm okay with you not wanting me to get this job, but I draw the line at you not wanting me to want it. His mouth twitches. Seems to me like you want it a little too much. Jack, here you are. A young woman stomps at the door of the office. She's only a few inches shorter than Jack, with long, dark hair and an accent that I cannot place. She is gesticulating. A lot. They did it again. Did what? Overrode my booking of the tokamak. Can you believe it? 3rd time this month, what the fuck? I had it for next week, then bam, kicked from the calendar. All that bullshit about how the reactor is available to all MIT personnel? They clearly don't mean grad students. How am I supposed to fuse the plasma in my fucking pressure cooker? Mishi. Jack sounds unfazed. If they want me to superheat gases in my bathtub and blow up my roommate's Pomeranian, I will fucking do it. But the entire point of being employed by MIT was not having to coalesce my own antimatter. This is the worst goddamn place in the universe, and I'm going to quit this program. I should have stayed at Caltech. I should have gotten into Grandma's squirrel feeders business. Michi, Jack interrupts, his voice just a touch firmer. This is Dr. Elsie Hanaway, one of the candidates for the open faculty position. Dr. Hanaway, Mishi is one of my grads. Mishi had not realized someone else was in the room. The way she turns beet purple is a dead giveaway, and so is her appalled, wide-eyed expression. I run a quick ape. Michi's smart, motivated, overworked. She likes and trusts Jack, so maybe not that smart. She's mortified her rant was overheard. Judging from her quivering lower lip, she's about to burst into tears. Uh-oh. That sucks, I say quickly. The Elsie she needs commiserates. I hate it when labs double book. I've never booked a lab in my entire life. But how hard is it to set up a functioning Google Calendar? Very, I assume. But Mishi's lip unquivers. She unpurples. Right? It's not just MIT. Every place is like that. I was a grad until a year ago, and we were always the last to get access to equipment. If by equipment you mean colored chalk. It gets better after you graduate. The lip requivers. It does? I promise. I smile reassuringly. My weakness is women in STEM. I want to protect them from the structurally unequal hellfire of academia. In the meantime, I'm sure Jack will be happy to intercede. Jack's scowl broadcasts his unfamiliarity with the concept of happiness. I'll make sure you have access, Mishi. He says Mishi, but he's looking at me, glaring, to be precise. And when Mishi scurries away with a nod, he pushes from the door and walks right up to me, a vertical line between his brows. It's almost a physical shock, redirecting from Mishi, open book, see-through Mishi to Jack. He's the usual blank brick wall of question marks, and I want to tear out my hair. His hair. All hair. Why does he have to be so frustrating? Why does he have to be the most unreadable? The real girl who wished to be a puppet, he murmurs, low and rumbly. What? I can actually watch you do it. Do what? Analyze people. Turn yourself on and off. I take a terrified step back, a combative step forward. I can't read him for shit, and he's in my head? You know, Jack, we all interact differently with different people. It's called code switching, a totally normal social skill. Code switching has nothing to do with erasing who you are and twisting what's left of you. Have you ever even booked a lab? What equipment were you denied? Listen, it worked. Michi was about to cry. I anticipated her needs, and there were no tears. You lie, Elsie. Every single one of your interactions is a lie. He crosses his arms and looms. We're supposed to be on a tour of the department. I feel like he's taking a tour of me. Is this what you do with Greg, too? You code switch a conjured, non-existent persona he fell in love with? No. Jesus. Greg needs to get his ass back from yoga camp as stat as possible. Are you doing it with me, too? His scowl deepens. What? No. I can't even read you. Are you turning yourself into what I want? Is that why whenever I'm with you, His voice trails off, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe I've just reached critical mass. I'm dizzy. My heart's a drum in my ears. There's a single droplet of cold sweat running down my spine. And I'm sure, absolutely positive that fighting with Jack has burned the last of my glucose molecules. My blood is 0% sugar. Fun. Elsie? Vision's blurry. Where's the wall? I gotta lean against the... Elsie? Hands, muscles, bones, warmth. I'm pressed against something and... Elsie, What the hell is going on? Sugar. So nice, not having to stand anymore. I feel so light. Fast-acting carbs, juice or soda or candy. Can you? There's warm, smooth skin under my palm. Then I'm deposited on top of the desk. My desk, my future desk. God, I really hope I get this job. I'll put that Bill Nia figurine I like to pretend JJ didn't give me by the computer, my Alice and Bella Funko Pops on the cabinet, a plant on the windowsill, something viscous and carnivorous, a Venus flytrap maybe. I'll feed Jack's cactus to her. I'll feed Jack to her. Here. My eyes flutter open. I suspect Jack was gone for a peaceful moment, but now he's back. To witness my misery. Like those arsonists who return to the crime scene to masturbate. Elsie, take it. There's a bottle in front of my nose, full of a dark liquid. I pry it from his hand and take several long gulps. Instant bliss. Well, not instant. Not bliss, either. It takes a few minutes for my blood sugar to stabilize. Even then, I still feel like a cadaver. A bad one that you get when you're in med school and show up late for anatomy lab. Should I drink more? I check my glucose level on the iTwat. Shit, my pod malfunctioned again. Delivered too much. Blood sugar's under 70 milligrams. I'll take 2 more sips, then wait 2 minutes, then... You have diabetes. I look up. Oh, right. Jack's still here, watching me with a half-hawkish, entirely concerned expression, taking up most of my future office in that visceral, present way of his. I need to get going with that Venus flytrap purchase. Mm-hmm. Type 1? I nod. Why didn't you tell me? I take another sip of my soda, which I'm slowly realizing is not Coke, and laugh. Why would I tell you? So you can slip Werther's Original in my tea? Funny you mention that. He doesn't seem to be having fun. Since I've met you exactly 5 times so far, and during 2 of those you suffered from some diabetes-related complication that required my help. 8 more, and I get a free sub? He snorts a laugh. With this level of self-sabotaging, you don't need outside help. I evil-eye him half-heartedly, too tired to bicker. The only 2 times I've had glycemic attacks in the last year were in your presence. Maybe your superpower is making my pod malfunction. You need to tell Monica. Monica's not going to like me any less, because I have diabetes. I think. His eyes harden. You think I want you to tell her to diminish your chances? You're shitting on your chances all on your own, with the fainting around and the easily disprovable lies. I'm concerned about your health. I take full responsibility for my health, and it doesn't affect my work. I'm not required to share my status to... You almost passed out. My pump malfunctioned. It's old and shitty and I need a new one. But they're prohibitive without health insurance, so... Does he look guilty? Maybe. Maybe it's just resting frown face. Does Greg know about the diabetes? How socially acceptable would it be for me to burst into Greg's corporate bonding retreat and drag him back to Boston by the ear? He doesn't need to know. Jack's lips thin. Is this part of your game? My what? This weird thing, where you delete and remake yourself. You are obsessed. And disturbingly right. Are you into conspiracy theories, lizard people, fictional Finland? I take another sip. God, this is bitter. The label on the bottle is in a foreign language. What is it? Volkov's favorite drink. What? He has his brother send a few cases over from Russia that he rations and cherishes like liquid gold. That's the last bottle. I'd do a spit take if I could bear to drink another sip. What? Don't worry. I'll mention that you really needed it, Elsie. He won't mind much. No, don't tell him. Do not tell Volkov. I'm gonna find an import store, buy a replacement. Where did you get this from? I trail off. Jack's dimple is back. He's smiling. Evilly. It's not really Volkov's, is it? He shakes his head. I hate you, I say without heat. I know. He grabs the bottle, takes a sip, scrunches his nose in an almost cute way. Does he know my lips were right there? Disgusting. I stole it from the student lounge, only non-diet soda I could find. You just stole from a grad student? I laugh. Yeah, an unexpected low. I laugh harder. Must be that sugar high. How do you sleep at night? I have a really firm mattress, great for spinal health. Laughing again here, and so is Jack. I take the bottle back and sip again. I guess we're both vaccinated. What's the harm? God, this tastes like paint thinner. Or a plankton isopropyl alcohol smoothie. Oh my God, I'm laughing even more. Do I have permanent brain damage? Are you going to be okay? His voice is suddenly softer, more intimate. He's really standing closer than we need to be. At least he'll catch me if I fall again. Yeah, I just need a second to recover. Last sip. Is this compost juice growing on me? Maybe it's just this place. The mid-afternoon sunlight warming the hardwood floor. The shelves waiting to be filled with my books. And another second to marvel at the splendor of my future office. Jack shakes his head and smiles, almost wistful. Sorry, Elsie. It won't be your office. The thought is blood-curdling. You're not sorry, and you don't know the future. I'm out punning you, Jack. The teaching demonstration. It went really well. And I didn't even steal Volkov's mother's milk. I have a chance. He studies me for a long moment, silent, then asks again, Will you be all right? Yeah. I just need a second to... No, I mean, will you be okay if you lose Greg? Because I will tell him about you. And if you don't get this job, will you still be... fine? I can't immediately decipher his tone. Then I do and burst out laughing. He's worried. He seems genuinely worried about my well-being and state of mind, which is surprisingly nice and maybe a tad amusing, until I realize why. He's convinced that I'll fail, and that makes me feel... something. A mix of anger and fear and something else, reminiscent of the carefree joy that comes from dancing on the graves of enemies who dared to underestimate me. What will you do if I get this job, Jack? I lean forward. My face is a couple of inches from his. Pull out your hair? Ask for the manager? Leave the department and become a Zumba instructor? He doesn't pull back. Instead, he watches me even more intently, like I'm a critter in the palm of his hand, and I contemplate the possible scenarios, the same ones that must be filling his head, too. Jack Smith-Turner and Elsie Hannaway, esteemed colleagues, office neighbors, academic foes. Oh, I could make his life so hard. Spread the rumor that he wraps his entire mouth around the water fountain, put a nest of killer cicadas in the lowest drawer of his desk, push him outside bare-eyed during an eclipse. The sky's the limit, and I want to see him suffer. I want to see him lose. I want to see him sweat it. I want to see him cry because he lost and I won. But perhaps I won't, because if you get the job... He leans close. That slice of eye burns bright blue, and his mouth curves. I'll make do. While crying yourself to sleep because I'm not George? Not everyone wants you to be someone else, Elsie. He's wrong about that, but I can smell his skin. It's good in a way that's primeval, almost evolutionary. I hate it. And I definitely wouldn't want you to be George. And why is that? He presses his lips together. He's even closer now, surprisingly earnest. It would be a waste. A waste of what? Of you. My heart skips, stumbles, restarts with a gallop. What does he even... Jack, Dr. Hannaway, here you are. My meeting just ended. Volkov appears in the doorframe. I'm so sorry for running late. Jack has taken a step back. No problem, he says, looking at me. I just hope you wore something reflective. A moment of silence, then Volkov registers the pun and starts wheezing. Oh, Jack, he chortles. Jack's already walking out of the room, but he stops in the door for a long glance and a low, "Goodbye, Elsie." After a beat, he adds, "It was a pleasure." Chapter 8. Friction. What do you mean you think we should leave them be? Mom's voice is so shrill, I glance around to make sure no one overheard her through the phone. Dr. Voigt waves at me before slipping inside the auditorium, the one where I'll give my research talk in 15 minutes, and my stomach flips, omelet style. It's just, Lucas is very stubborn. Short of locking him in my dishwasher, I'm not sure how to stop him from acting up. I hasten to add, before Mom asks me to do just that. And I think he'll be okay if we give him space to sulk. What about Thanksgiving? What about Thanksgiving? What if he's not done sulking by Thanksgiving? Where do I seat him? What if he doesn't show? Your aunt will say that I don't have my family under control, that she should host next year. She's been trying to steal this from me for decades. Mom, it's January. And? I spot Jack and Andrea coming my way, laughing, Mishi and a gaggle of grads in tow. He's one whole head taller than the crowd, like at every single Smith gathering, and wears a gray, long-sleeved Henley that manages to look simultaneously like the first thing he found in the laundry hamper and a high-end piece tailored to showcase that protein is his favorite macronutrient. Haute Couture by Chuck Norris. I wish he didn't nod at me with that stupid smirk. I wish he wasn't amused by my glare. If by November things aren't better, I'll look into rope restraints and cheap storage space, I promise. Gotta go, Mom. I'll call you back tonight, okay? I hang up to find a good luck email from Dr. L, who hasn't quite mastered text messaging yet, and smile. At least someone cares. I'm so sorry about yesterday, Monica says, arriving in a flurry of clicking heels. Her eyes knife into Jack's monstrous shoulders, and I do love how committed she is to despising him. Truly warms my high-risk cardiovascular system. I left you with Jack for so long. I had no idea Sasha was late. Men. So unreliable. Not a problem. It's not even a lie. Last night I managed to put in 2 solid hours of email answering before dinner, and I didn't even doze off when Cece told me all about the recent breakthrough in her analysis of the Odessa Steppes, i.e., Act 4 of the 1925 silent movie Battleship Potyomkin. We've watched it together before, multiple times since I made the rookie mistake of pretending to love it the first. But last night, I was considerably less tired than usual, and my theory is that Jack's the reason. Here's the deal. Things between him and me are unsalvageably bad. I'll never conjure an Elsie able to please him, especially since he's figured out my ape strategies. And as much as I hate knowing that there's someone out there whom I cannot win over, it also lets me off the hook. With Jack, I don't need to be someone else, because I can't be someone else. It's unsettling and disturbingly bearing, and also relaxing. Basically, I had fun with Jack Smith Turner, a phrase never before uttered by a human tongue. Have I been doing it all wrong? Maybe instead of getting people to think that I'm worth their time, I should stop giving a shit about them? Food for thought. On the positive, everyone who's had one-on-ones with you adored you, Elsie. Monica grins. And the students, glowing feedback. I think we got this in the bag. You just need to nail this research talk. No pressure. On it, I smile. Her hand settles warmly on my shoulder. You'll be such a wonderful asset to the department. 10 minutes later, after Monica has introduced me to a packed auditorium, I suspect mandatory attendance, I can still feel the weight of her fingers. She mentioned the Forbes 30 Under 30, the SN10, Scientists to Watch, and the Young Investigator Prize, and everyone clapped. People look between me and my slides. No one seems to be nodding off yet. I'm talking about the models I created, some unpublished material I haven't had a chance to write up yet, and God, I fucking love it. The thing is, I'm good at it. Really, genuinely good. Anything else I've ever been praised for? You're so pretty, Elsie. So interesting to talk to. So funny. So extroverted. So introverted. So kind. So understanding. So pleasant. So thoughtful. So level-headed. So insightful. So crazy. So carefree. So disciplined. So intense. So laid back. Is made up. A product of fog machines and carefully angled mirrors that reflect what others want me to be. But physics. I didn't fake my way into physics, and I love talking about it to other people, not something I've been able to do over the past year, since I teach approximately 70 bajillion classes, and my students are still at the apple falls on head stage of physics. I sometimes try to involve Cece in my work, but every time I mention liquid crystals, she giggles and whispers, "My precious." Which is okay. It's not exactly a party topic, but physicists, they're into it. Experimentalists love the applications, and theorists love to wonder what they were up to during the Big Bang, whether they're the real origin of life on Earth, if they can be added to a smoothie. It's a win-win. This was phase 2 of the model. Let me know if it's not crystal clear. I deliver the first of my 3 scheduled puns to a roomful of chuckles. If the world is a just place, this prostitution of my sense of humor will buy me Volkov's vote. Now, moving on to the third. Jack's in the 4th row, paying me an uncomfortable amount of attention, writing something in a notebook. At best, he's doodling cool S's. At worst, drafting an online petition to dissuade MIT from hiring a diabetic slug who pilfers imported sodas and catfishes impressionable young men. He has something planned. I know it. He knows it. We both know it, and that's why our gazes meet and hold so often. But I've practiced this talk so much, I could give it while getting my crotch waxed. Whatever you're plotting, I'm ready for it. I think at him the next time our eyes catch. He smirks back his familiar, uneven smile. I carry on and wait for the shoe to drop. And wait. And wait. And it doesn't. Jack doesn't raise his hand to ask an unintelligible 4-part question. His students don't jump out of their chairs to stage an anti-theory flash mob. Once we get to the Q&A, I peek at the ceiling, fully expecting a bucket of pig's blood. Nothing. Just Dr. Massey, raising his hand from the left side saying, "What a deeply fascinating model, Dr. Hanaway. Some of the experimentalists here would really benefit from your collaboration." He points at a middle-aged man sitting in front of him. "Toby, you're working on pneumatics." "No, not me. It was Dr. Diol." "No, Diol's particles. Maybe Sasha?" The room devolves into a chicken coop, everyone talking over everyone until Volkov interrupts. "Wasn't it Dr. Smith-Turner?" He turns around with effort, looking for someone, and I pray he misspoke. I pray there's another Smith-Turner in the crowd. I pray for a quick and merciful ending. But, Jack, you've been stuck on your pneumatics experiments, right? You could use this model, correct? I dare to glance at Jack, expecting to see him frown, to scoff, to lash back. But he says, "Indeed I have, and indeed I could." He smiles a little, pleased in a way that's not bitter enough for my taste. I just knocked this talk out of the park. Jack should be sobbing. Why does he look almost admiring? His eyes hold mine again. I glance away first and take the next question. "You are a most impressive young scientist," Volkov tells me, pausing to pop a bacon-wrapped mushroom in his mouth. "A rising star, with a bright career ahead of you. I'll make sure to buy sunglasses." I watch him cackle his way to the canapé's table, hoping he won't be back. The interview went well, but I'm ready for it to be over. This shindig at Monica's place is the home stretch. Ostensibly, an informal reception meant to convey the amiable culture of the department and the convivial rapport among its faculty members. But I've been to tons of these back at Northeastern, and all they manage to show is that we academics are awkward, resentful nerds, unable to interact with our colleagues without liters of ethanolic lubricant, which have by now been distributed. The room ranges from buzzy to outright drunk, the conversation from PS5 games to gossip about the grad students. Cole is universally loathed, had a soul patch phase, once tried to organize an orgy in the spectroscopy lab. I should introduce him to Uncle Paul. Monica's house is fancy and sprawling, and I shouldn't be shocked. She is a big shot. Of course, she has KFC buckets of money. Many of those who manage to stick around academia till the full professor stage do, right? It's just... The income difference between tenured faculty and people like me is gaping. Maybe scholars move up from the poverty line and forget all about how they used to jerk awake to coconut crab roaches crawling on their skin. Maybe there's a switch in the brain that teaches people the difference between hors d'oeuvres and amuse-bouches and makes them want to drop serious cash on cow skull wall decor. I sip the club soda I pretended to splash with gin and mutter, God. Pretty sure God left this department years ago. Someone whispers above my ear. I turn and it's Jack. Of course it's Jack. The electron to my nucleus, constantly spinning around me in the most annoying of orbits. He's so close I have to tilt my chin, and from this perspective it strikes me again how handsome he is, like a picture in an airport store that sells fancy perfume. Stop frowning, he orders, and at first I automatically smooth my forehead. Then I frown harder. Don't tell me what to do. Come on, Elsie. The corner of his lips twitches. I didn't even ask you to smile. He's standing in the door, one hand on each side of the doorframe. His biceps brushes against my hair, but I won't step out of reach. I was here first. Also, I'm clearly 12. Did you need something? Just checking in, making sure you've eaten enough. I roll my eyes. I did. Thanks, Daddy. My blood sugar is at 120 milligrams. I'm killing it. Thought so, since you're not lying face down on Monica's. He glances at the rug beneath my feet, and his nose scrunches. Dead Dalmatian? I think it's cowhide. That explains the skulls on the wall. They really... I clear my throat. Tie the whole room together? You think she killed them herself? Why? Afraid you're next? Of course. Monica's terrifying. I laugh. There's nothing Jack can do to make me look unhireable now. We're just two friendly arch-enemies chatting at a party. No one's paying attention to us, which feels oddly nice, isolating but restful, because Jack expects nothing from me. Are you and Andrea dating? I ask, because I can, and I'm curious. No. He seems surprised. Why? I shrug. I see you together a lot. That's who he was chatting with while Volkov soapboxed about competitive duck herding. We're friends, we collaborate, we're the only two faculty members under 35. He takes a sip of his beer. I don't date much. Right. That's what Greg said too. What bugs me is, I'm positive that Andrea, an otherwise brilliant woman, thinks Jack's a nice guy, and that Michi thinks he's a good mentor, judging by how comfortable she feels interacting with him via meltdowns. About anyone else, these would be green flags, but I know better. So, I say, your nematics experiments are going poorly? Indeed. How did you know? Oh, right. You were there when Volkov announced my repeated failures to obtain decent results to a 300-person auditorium. The self-deprecating smile is back, and so is the dimple. I don't want to laugh again, but it's hard. I've had a long day. I kind of liked it. In fact, I think I had an orgasm when it happened. I bet. His eyes darken around the blue wedge. On a scale from taking a CrossFit class to writing parody articles as a form of activism, how mad are you that someone suggested you use a model of mine? What's a CrossFit? And why would I be mad? My lab discussed the application of your model in our meeting today. I lean back to search his eyes. What? Michi bragged to everyone that you guys are friends. She followed you on Twitter, I think. I don't have Twitter. I did tell her you probably aren't a Smexielzy69. Wait, are you serious? Are you really going to apply my model? Of course. But it's a purely theoretical model. He shrugs. We've been stuck for months. And it's brilliant. And like I told you multiple times, I've always incorporated theoretical models and collaborated with... Stop. I turn to face him directly and get half-wedged under his arm. We look like we're about to embrace. In a Game of Thrones, stab you while I hug you away. Listen, Stop this, please. I don't know what you want from me. I've been adjuncting for a year, and it sucks so much. So much. I just want a job in a good department to continue with my research. You deserve it, he says quietly. I feel the words for irony. Find no trace. Stop it, I repeat. I don't know what game you're playing, but... Game? He scowls. I just said that I hope you get the opportunity to continue your work, because you clearly are one of the great minds of our generation. I tense. I don't need your condescending praises. He shakes his head. His hand comes up to my chin, straightens my face to better study me, which he does for endless seconds before asking, What happened to you, Elsie? Excuse me? I feel flayed alive when he looks at me like that, stripped to my bones. Every time I mention that I admire your work, you become dismissive and combative. No, I don't. Or do I? Maybe if you didn't spend half your time reminding me that I'm on par with a skanky villain from a mid-2000s CW show, I am able to multitask. He sounds not upset, but on his way. Not his usual detached self. I can admire you as a scientist, and at the same time resent what you're doing to my brother. Allegedly doing to your brother, and... Am I being needlessly antagonistic? No, Jack and I are antagonists. Insulin and glucagon, Ray and Kylo Ren, Galileo and the entire Catholic Church, circa 1615. It's hard to believe that you respect me when all I know you for is dissing the very people who do my job and advocating for George to be hired. That has nothing to do with you and everything with George, who you know nothing about. Right. Maybe if I met him and heard all about his 1.5 publications, I'd withdraw my application in cowed admiration. Jack's eyes widen. What? He bites the inside of his cheek. Elsie, you're operating on some pretty big assumptions. Elsie, here you are. Monica crosses the cowhide toward us. She looks at me, then at Jack, then at me again. I thought you might need some saving, she murmurs in my ear. Judging from his half-smile, Jack heard too. I was just making sure she still wants to work with us, after Christos put his hand down his waistband while trying to convince her that cereal is technically soup. Jack's tone is once again amused, relaxed. He does make some valid points, I interject, before Monica field dresses Jack on the cowhide. Monica, this evening has been so lovely. Thank you so much for having me in your beautiful home. But of course, have you met my family? Your husband, yes. His research is fascinating. He's an evolutionary biologist. We teared up together over the tawny frog mouths, who mate for life and let themselves starve by the body of their dead partner. Good times. What about Austin, my son? He just got home. He's staying with us. Currently between careers. Looks like spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to major in golf management was not a good investment. Her smile is tight. Did you know Jack and Austin hang out? Oh. I look between Jack and Monica, who seem to find the fact respectively amusing and teeth-grind-worthy. We play basketball at the same gym, Jack explains. His voice vibrates through me, like he's very close. On Sunday nights, right during our family dinner, which Austin hasn't attended in weeks. Maybe you should install a hoop in your living room. He points at the wall, right there between those two fossils. Maybe you should install a hoop up your... Oh, there he is. Austin, dear, let me introduce you to our guest of honor. A tall man resentfully stops staring at his phone to come to us. He's handsome in a common, forgettable kind of way, and initially I think that's why he looks vaguely familiar. But as I watch him exchange a friendly handshake with Jack, I realize it's more than that. I'm positive that I've seen him before. Where, though, I cannot place him. One of my students? No. He must be in his late 20s. Then it hits me. When Monica says, "Austin, this is a future potential colleague, Dr. Elsie Hannaway," because Austin's response is to give me the once-over snort and then say, "No, she's not." And that's when it occurs to me that the last time I met Austin Salt, he offered me $70 to have sex with him.